Morning, everyone. Okay, we're going to look at the picture frame plan today. Take a look at the rubric that I had given you. Here you see, let me make this a little bit larger. There we go. So we're going to grade it on a scale of up to 5 points. Over on the left-hand side, we want to be in the advanced category. That's our desired area to score. So if the plan was drawn at onshape.com and the PDF is attached to Google Classroom, that's our advanced category. If you went with the orthographic and isometric drawings, remember orthographic is two-dimensional, and we'll have the front view, the top view, and the side view. Then we have the isometric drawing, and the plan is sketched and labeled on paper. Remember the labeled piece too, and dimensioned, but then you'd be at goal. All right, so proficient, 2 of the 3 orthographic views, front, top, left, and then 1 of the 3 orthographic views submitted and then not submitted. So you want to be over there on Onshape ideally, but you can sketch it up on paper for a 1/4 point deduction. Dimensioned, accurate dimensions for the framing sticks around the picture in addition to the back block. So we get this back block of wood, we put some framing sticks around the picture to nail it down and hold it in place. And remember, this is working on hammering and nailing and those mitered corners, 45-degree corners that we'll cut. You'll learn that in class. So if we have the framing sticks dimensioned properly, and that gives us our viewing window that we worked on with our guidance document. Dimensions available for the backer block, length and width minimum, and you don't have the framing sticks, you'd be at goal, so you want to have those framing sticks dimensioned as well. No dimensions for the drawing, you'd be at proficient, but you have a drawing, and then not submitted at all, obviously. Notes. So it says goal plus guidance document completed and attached to Google Classroom. So the goal is one side of the paper is labeled with more than 2 notes, greater than 2 notes, overall details of what that is going to look like. Lighter colored wood, viewing window is this. If you have 1 to 2 notes given on the side of the paper, not greater than 2, but 1 to 2 notes would be a proficient. So what you want to do is have more than 2 notes, and then you also want to have that guidance document attached to Google Classroom. Framing sticks. Sticks are detailed. They're clear with their size and their location. Is there a space above them to the edge of the wood? Attempt made on the plan, but the size is not clear, is that goal, and no attempt on framing sticks to border details. Proficient. Okay, so we want to know what we're looking at so you know what to go cut out of the wood. And then at the bottom, there'll be a little bit of math here and 2 questions, half point each. That'll make it 5 points out of 5. So when we go to Onshape, and this is what we're going to go ahead and work in, or paper, I just want to run through it with you real quick. So I go to create a document. And when I make a document, I'll call this pick frame plan and go ahead and open it up. As I generally like to do, I like to hide the origin, the top plane, and the right plane. Now I have the front plane there, and I'll hit front. And now I have my flat piece of paper, my X and my Y. It says X and Z here, the way it's laid out, but it's just a flat length and width paper to start. So I'm going to go to Sketch, and I choose my sketch plane where I want to draw, and I'll go ahead and get a corner rectangle. Boom. That's it. Now, I am in millimeters currently. You can leave it in millimeters. If you do that, when you go to dimension, you have to type IN for inches afterwards. So I'll click one time and I'll say, let's say this is going to be 8 inches, 8 IN. And it's going to show in millimeters still. That's millimeters. Or you can do this. Let me show you one more time. One click over here, and I'm going to type 6 inches, 6 IN. Okay, now it's still displaying in millimeters, but I can go ahead and I can change that by going to the 3 lines up here by my plan, picture frame plan name, 3 lines, workspace units, and I can change it from millimeters to inches. Check mark. Now when I open up sketch 1, it'll show me the 8x6. Okay, pretty easy. So if my back block of wood is 8x6, that there I am, and then I extrude it by 1 inch. So I'm going to have an extrusion, a new one of 1 inch. And now I have my back block of wood at 8x6 by 1 inch. All right, pretty straightforward, pretty easy. And now we need to do the framing stick. So what is the framing stick going to look like? I'm going to make this plan with a 1 inch framing stick, and I'll jog it in a 1/2 inch around the side. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Okay, I'm going to start off with a rectangle tool for my framing sticks. And there we go. And I'll make this 1 inch. Boom to boom. It's going to be 1. Now I'm going to dimension the distance from here to here is 1/2 of an inch, 0.5. Okay. Now I want the end of this to be 0.5 as well. So 1 click to 1 click, because that's going to be the end of my 45-degree. 0.5. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to turn off my tools so I have nothing selected and see if it will let me take just that end line. I'm going to delete that end line. And I'm going to take this end line as well. I'm going to delete that end line. Okay, very good. Now I'm going to go ahead and take my line tool and go from this top point and make a line down here. And hit escape. And I'm going to do another one, line tool from here to there. And I'm going to hit escape again. Now the degree angle is 45 degrees. So I have my dimension tool on. 1 click here, 1 click there. That currently is 51 degrees. I'm going to make that 45 degrees. There you go. 1 click here, 1 click there. I'm 47 degrees, 45 degrees. All right, now I need to bring this end down to here. So I'm going to go ahead and say the distance between this point and that point is currently 1 inch. I'm going to make it 0. Boom. Distance between that point and this point is currently 1 inch. That'll be 0. Okay, there's my first framing stick. Look, this is 0.5 inches. And again, this is what I had talked about, 0.5 here. And then I have 1 inch, 0.5, I'm sorry, 1.5 off of there. And then this is a 1 inch framing stick there. Great. Now I'm going to extrude this. How thick do you want this? How thick is meaning how far off of the backer block is it going to be? I'm going to make it, I'll make it 1/2 of an inch just for this, but that's kind of thick. But let's go ahead with 1/2 of an inch just so you can see. And that's what it would look like for the first framing stick. Okay, I liked when we did the maze activity, 1 wall, 1 extrusion. And now we'll go to the next one. Now, when we make the next one, it will combine with this if we keep it at 0.5. So what I'm going to do is 0.499. So it doesn't combine and it shows the lines. Otherwise, it'll just be a full border. So these ends, I'll do 0.499 for my extrusion. And then the bottom one, I'll make 0.5 again. So let me go through and show you that. New sketch. Sketch planes on the surface of my back block of wood. I'll go ahead and get my rectangle tool again. I'm going to go right off that point and come down and do the same thing I did before. The distance from here to here should be 0.5. Excellent. The distance from here to here should be 1 inch. That's just what I picked for a number. You don't have to use these numbers I'm using, just so you know. And then the distance from this point to this point should be 0.5. And the one up top is already locked in at 0.5. We know that's good because we dimensioned that in the last sketch. Okay, so I'm going to go with my line tool now, and I'm going to go in like this and hit escape. And then I'll do the one here, 1 click there, 1 click there. Oh, my line tool's not on, I'm sorry. 1 click there, 1 click there, and then hit escape again. Okay, so I have everything drawn up. I just have to delete this extra line. So I think we have to delete this end line. We have to delete that end line first. Okay, those are gone. And now we can go ahead and we can dimension these back from that point to that point. Make sure you delete the end line first before we go ahead and bring it back. There you go. There we go. Okay, so remember we delete these end lines here before we go ahead and dimension the 45s. And now I can go ahead and extrude. And I'm going to extrude this in one line. Oh, I dimensioned. I don't want to dimension one line. There we go. Now I can extrude, and I'm going to add 0.5, 0.499, 0.499, just so there's a little bit of a difference, and it keeps that line there. All right, they're pretty much the same, 5.5, 0.499. But if we went 0.5, it would have made it one part, and I wanted to keep a separation so you see the framing stick there. Okay, now we go to the other side, sketch on our sketch plane. I'll go ahead and make a rectangle tool Again, just find that that's kind of the easiest way to go. And drop it there. Now I'm going to go ahead and dimension. This is 1 inch, remember? 1 enter. The distance off of here should be 0.5. Cool. That's all set. We got to get the end over here. So I'm going to go from the point to there is 0.5. Very nice. Now, delete the end lines. 1 click there. Goodbye. 1 click here. Make sure it's just that little piece. Did I get it? Yeah, I did it. Okay. So those are gone. And now I need to go ahead and make my 45s with the line tool. So this one's there, but I'm going to go ahead and draw. There you go. And then hit escape. And then again, this one here. I have to turn my tool back on. This one here. Go to there. And then turn my tool off. Dimension. This one to here should already be set at 45. Very good. And then this one to here. The degree should be 45. 2 45s equal 90. Now we go back to dimension, and this point to this point needs to go to 0. Same thing here. This point to this point goes to 0. And there we go. We got our frame and stick ready to go. We're getting the hang of it now. And this one's going to be a 0.5 extrusion, so we'll go 0.5 on this one. And the sides will be 0.499. Again, this is my example. You could go 0.25. You could go 0.3. A plan is a starting place. We can then adjust it and go from there. Here's my sketch plane, rectangle tool, all the way down here. Now, once I lock into that wall, I know I'm 0.5 off. I've just got to check this one. That should be 0.5 also. We should be good. But the 1 inch needs to be confirmed. There's my 1. Very good. Turn it off. Delete this little line. Delete this little line. Delete. And then I go ahead and start my line tool on the angles. Boom, boom, and boom, boom. Escape. Okay, so that should be there. I now have to just make this a distance of 0. Beautiful. 0. What happened on that one? Let's see if I can delete that. Okay, I think I'm good. The line should be there. Yeah, it looks like it's there. All right, so we'll extrude that by 0.5. We can dimension it just to confirm, but it should be set up at 0.5 already. It is. And this should be 45 because it's working off of the other 45. Good. No sense guessing. Just confirm it's good. And you'll be cutting the 45s in a 45-degree miter box, so you'll be good there. This looks nice. It's currently just 3 sides extruded, so we'll go and extrude this last one, and it's going to be 0.49. This is based on my example. Again, you could make it 0.425 if you want. And there we go. You can see it step down just a little bit to 0.49 to 0.5. Yours will be all the same, but just so it displays well on here. There is my picture frame that I'm going to plan to make. And maybe I want to have it say congratulations or happy birthday or whatever you want to write. So you can go ahead and add that if you plan to use the CNC. Let's do happy birthday. Spell it right. Looks like I spelled it right. Beautiful. You can take the blue circle and kind of set it up, and then you can go and organize this. You know that this is, well, we didn't dimension that, but I know this is 8. So we're 0.5 plus 1. So 1.5 to there, 1.5 to there. So that's 3. So 8 minus 3 is 5. So from here to here, we're 5. If we want to have it go the whole way, we can make this 5. And then go ahead and turn the tool off, grab the blue circle. And it goes pretty much from side to side right there. And we can go with that, and it can extrude, remove, 0.2, just to dig it in. There you go. You can go 0.1, 0.05, whatever it is, inches. So there we are. That looks nice. Now we need to make the PDF drawing. So plus sign, add a new tab, create a drawing. ANSI B inches. We're not using millimeters, we're using inches, so make sure you do that. I like ANSI B because it gives the landscape view of our plan. Select our part, and we have the front view set up. It's 1 to 3. I think I can go 1 to 2. I think we can fit that on there. Let's see. A little bigger, yeah. C3. Okay, orthographic, front view. There's our front view. Now we're going to go, remember, this is all we're really going to see. I'm going to change the front view to the top view. And I'm going to change the top view now, or front view, to the left view. And now I'm going to go ahead and add from the front the isometric. All right, and there's one thing I want to check there just to confirm that we have everything. We're going to add a section view. We don't have to add a section view, but I'm going to go ahead and add this one to show you a vertical view of the inside details. So I'll click on this line here. I'll go on this one. And I'll turn it over to the side. And there we have our section view showing the inside of our picture frame. Now we dimension as always, so I'm going to go ahead and turn my dimension tool on. There it is. Okay, so this should show my 6 millimeters. This should show inches. I'm sorry, not millimeters. 8. This side should be a half of an inch. 0.49. Remember, it was 0.49 and 0.5 on the other side. So this might show 0.49. Yeah, 0.499. It really is 0.5. It really is 0.5, but I did that so it would show the lines and didn't become one part. I hope that makes sense to you. This size right here is 5 inches. This one's 7, so that might help with your framing sticks. You'll need 7-inch and 5-inch sticks, and then you'll cut the angles off of them. At 45 degrees, that'll be 3. So our viewing space is 3 by 5 in this example. The block of wood's 1 inch thick. I think that shows all our details. Lastly, we need to go ahead and label. And what is this one? Isometric view. I like to just expand this a little bit so it's all one line, if possible. Okay, this one I'm going to put it right on the. Let me. Right on the part. This one will be the left view, and this would be the front view. Pretty straightforward. I mean, I think that's a neater plan. You can whip this up on paper a little easier, but this really gives you a good detailed plan. Has your name on it, has the date on it. I believe if you submit this and I print it, then you know I'm going to go get an 8 by 6 piece of wood. My framing sticks, I didn't finish the dimensioning. I'm sorry, I should have done that. That should be 1 inch, just so you guys know that we're going to have a 1 inch framing stick, and it's going to have a distance from the side to the side of half of an inch. And from there to there, it's going to be a half of an inch. Again, it depends on what you're making for a plan. Yours might be a little different. So once it's all organized, you go ahead and turn this in by right-click on the drawing and export, and then you'll go ahead and attach it to Google Classroom. All right, thank you.